In this video, we're going to be having a look at themes in Home Assistant. Make sure you stick around, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button below and keep an eye out for more videos. Hi, I'm Will from Surridge Tech, and today we're going to be having a look at themes in Home Assistant. We're going to have a look at some themes that you can get from the HACS store, how to set them up, and then we're going to look at creating our own themes. So let's get going. So what is a theme? Well, a theme is a bit of code that styles your interface, basically. You can get different themes on different applications that do all sorts of things, going from dark mode to light mode, that's two different themes, or obviously going a bit more advanced and just making the interface look better. You're changing things like fonts, like colors, backgrounds, that sort of thing. That's what a theme does. And creating a theme is quite complicated, getting the design of it right, but it's possible to do, and there are lots of good examples out there of good themes. So, themes in Home Assistant. Well, there are three different layers to a theme in Home Assistant, and they kind of overwrite each other, and they kind of also don't quite at the same time. So you have an overall theme in your Home Assistant, and that you can get to if you click on your profile name, and you can select your theme throughout, and it will do a number of different things to fiddle around with your theme, and that does it throughout the whole interface. You can then do the theme on a particular Lovelace page, dashboard. And you can see I've got a theme on this that is looking quite nice. And then you can also put a theme on an individual card if you just want that card different. So if I edit this dashboard here, and then we can click on a theme and then change the theme of this card. Now, as you can see, it only changes some things and not other things. So your best bet, if you want everything to change nicely, is to change the theme of the entire Home Assistant. If you're happy with some things carrying through, then you should change it on a dashboard itself. And I reckon that's what you're going to do most of the time, because you're going to want your dashboards looking a bit different a lot of the time, potentially. And changing on a card itself won't work very well necessarily, unless you wanted to change like one or two specific little things in that card, you can do. But I wouldn't suggest changing the whole theme on a card, because that will just look a bit odd above anything else. So, themes, where do we get them from? Well, most of them come from the HACS store. I know, shouldn't say that. So I've done a video before on how to download and install HACS. And obviously, HACS has got integrations, Lovelace cards, and themes. So if we just select our themes in the front end, and then we can choose some themes. So if we wanted a theme, for example, Noctis, sounds quite fun. Oh, it looks quite nice as well. Then we can download this repository in HACS, download it, and then you need to make sure your themes are set up in your configuration. So in your configuration, if you have default config, then you're fine and you don't need to worry about it. If you don't, then you need to add these two lines. That tells the front end where the themes are located. They're obviously located in this themes folder, and then the latest one we downloaded is Noctis. And then what we're going to need to do is reload our themes. Now this, I've created a little script that does this. You can just call a service, and your service is front end reload themes. And if you call that, then we can go into our front end. So what I've done is set up this dashboard, which is showing a number of different things that you might have, so you can see where the theme affects everything, basically. So if we set this to Noctis, you can see what it does. You can see it's got a white color, a slightly gray color. You can see what happens when you select things and turn them on, it changes color. You've got that click color. You've got this background color. You can see that there's a little shadow around the cards. That sort of thing is all controlled by the theme. So that is existing themes and what they can do. And obviously, if I change the theme for the whole thing, you can see that actually it carries through a lot more. So we've got it covering this whole sidebar as well. Didn't want no red. And it's covering all the top bar and making everything the same color and looking actually quite nice. And you can see that actually it's changed the colour that was selected from yellow to blue. So you can see how themes don't quite line up depending on what you do. So that is pre-existing themes. So what we want to do is create our own theme. And the easiest way to do this, surprisingly enough, is to start with something else. So what I'm going to start with is this Kibit theme. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder inside themes called WST. And then in that, I'm going to create a new file, wst.yaml. And that's going to be empty. And I'm going to copy from the Kibit theme because it's got quite a lot of options available to it. You can choose another theme. There are hundreds of different entity types that you might want to make use of in your theme. I'm going to start with this one because it seems to be quite comprehensive in terms of what it provides. We're going to rename it WST and save it. So for this, I'm going to change the theme of the whole of Home Assistant to WST. And you can see that it is quite ugly. The first thing we're going to change is our image. So I've got this image, background image, in my www folder. So we're going to use that, /local/ background.png. And in theory, if we come in here, reload theme, it changes. Magic. Next thing we're going to want to change is our colours. So there's an incredible website called Coolers, which is great at selecting colour palettes. You just hit space and find some colours that you want. So if you want to keep them, you lock them, and then you can space around some more, kind of thing. And then you can obviously access the colours themselves. You can also use it to view shades. So if you want to go shade lighter, for example, then that is a great way to do it. So I'm going to use this colour palette here that I prepared earlier, and we're going to copy some of these values. So our primary background colour is going to be the dark one. And then this light steel blue here, we're going to use as our primary colour. And our light primary colour is going to be white. So when we do that and we come in here and reload our theme, it changes some things, doesn't it? Fantastic. Next up, we've got fonts. So the current font family is Comforter. We don't really want that font family. So because I'm fancy, I want to use a Google font. And we're going to use Railway. Because I quite like that font. So if we click on that, okay, then we need to put this into our Home Assistant. For this light font, so we need to copy this link reference here. And then we go into our configuration. Under Lovelace Dashboards, under Resources, we need to add a new resource. Copy the link, and it wants to be a style sheet. And from there, we can then go back into our script editor, and we're going to change the font family to Railway. So, font family, Railway. Save that. Come in here, reload the theme, and boom, new font. And that font has carried throughout the entire interface, which is lovely. Okay, what else can we do? Obviously, you can change secondary and sub fonts here as well if you wanted to. I'm keeping them all the same. Got some text colours, some sidebar colours and menus and states and stuffs. What I want to do is have a look at cards. So cards are currently using the secondary background colour. So that is this with a 0.7% opacity. So it's basically just a bit of an opacity on the background. And they've got a radius of 20 pixels. So let's change that to 0 pixels. And let's change our card background to an opacity of significantly less, and then we reload the theme, boom, it changed. That is admittedly ugly, but it has changed. maybe we change our background to something else. So if we wanted our background to be this steel blue, then I want to add an opacity to it, so we need the RGB value, which is 74,123,186. So we're going for this 74,123,106. Is that right? 186. And we want an opacity of 30%. So when we come in here and reload the theme, actually that looks a lot more in keeping now. Now obviously that isn't a particularly well formulated theme at the moment. There are hundreds of different variables that you can put in and hundreds of different things to make the UI look good. This has only got about 75 of them, maybe 60 in this, but there are different examples of entities that you can add, like this alarm color armed is from the Noctis theme, but wasn't in the Kibit theme. So you might want to add that. And if anyone knows whether there's a unified list of all the entities that you can change, then please let me know, because that would be very useful. But for now, this is what we've got. And we've changed a few things, and you could spend hours changing more to make it look as cool as you want. So there we go. We've looked at themes in Home Assistant and created our own. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click the bell icon to find out more about my smart tech and how you can build yourself the ultimate smart home.